perfect. Yeah, you walk that walk, watch the Moscow clock. You're so picture perfect.
Welcome back, everybody, to Bravo Tea with the Stay-at-Home Mom. I'm Erica, and I'm ready to get into some Bravo Tea. But before we kick it off with these exciting shows we have currently on TV, I have an annoying announcement to make. So if most of you follow me on TikTok, you will notice that I have not posted anything and that my username changed to a strange name. So if you go on my page, it still says Bravo Tea with the Stay-at-Home Mom. But then up top, it says Test Me Mom 8. Last Thursday, my TikTok just totally signed out. Like in my hand, I went to go post a video, sign me out. I'm like, that's annoying. But you know how sometimes the apps do that? Tried to get back in, couldn't. Was a little panicked. And I was like, this is really strange. I have never been hacked on my Facebook, Instagram, like ever before. And I'm like, what's going on? Why would anyone even want to hack my account? Because what are you going to do with it? And I went on my husband's TikTok just to make sure like my account was still there. Cause then I was like, did I post something bad? Did someone report me? Did I get like shut down? Is TikTok shut down, period? Like it was just weird. But then I noticed that name changed at the top and I'm like, okay, this is happening. I just thought it was weird. I wasn't even able to attempt to sign in. Like it's not like it was saying my password had been changed or anything. And also, if all this stuff had been changed, why aren't I getting emails, notifications? Because it always asks you for your phone number verification and they text you a code. I have it set up like that. I'm pretty sure like everyone does. How do these people even understand to guess my phone number or my email? Maybe you could find my email floating around somewhere in the universe, but you're not going to find my phone number and you're not going to find both. And if you found my phone number, it would text me. So alas, I put in a ticket for support on TikTok. They did answer me back and they asked for all this information. I gave it to them. Radio silence. I have sent them 20 messages. No answer. So I don't really know what I'm going to do. I'm frustrated for two reasons. My account is just floating out there. The person's not even doing anything with it. So that's even more annoying. They changed the username TestMeMom8. I don't know why. Like, test me, mom. Yeah, you're testing this, mom. I'm going to come beat you up when I find out who you are. But I'm upset because I don't want to start over. I don't want a new account. I'll lose all my videos. I'll lose all my followers. That's not fair. And then my account with my face on it will just be floating out there for that person to just stay logged into. It's so frustrating that they're also not answering me back. I don't understand how this person was easily logging into my stuff, but they can't even answer me back. My friend said her Instagram was hacked before and they answered her in like a day. They made her like send her ID and she had to do like a video of her like moving her face so they knew it was her. I'll do all that. Ask me those questions. TikTok is probably the worst one to communicate with because I said I wish my Facebook got hacked. I don't even barely care about that. That's like the last one on my list. I love Instagram and I love all the followers I have on Instagram. Those of you listening, if you follow me on both, that's great. I have a lot of people that just follow me on TikTok though, so they're probably like, what's happening? If I get no answer by this weekend, next week, I'm going to start a new TikTok. It's going to make me mad. It's going to make me frustrated, but I'm just going to like flood everyone's feed saying, here I am, don't follow that other one. And at this point, when I make a new one, I guess we all just need to report the old one. For now, I'm still trying to get that one back just because it'd really be annoying to lose all that content and my name. I don't want to lose the Bravo T. So on TikTok, I'm Bravo T Stay-at-Home Mom because I couldn't do with a stay-at-home mom. So I'll try and make it as close as I can with that one. But I'll tell you what, TikTok, anyone that knows anything about this or if you've gone through it, message me on my Instagram. And I'm Bravo T with a Stay-at-Home Mom on Instagram because I don't know what to do. They're just literally not answering me. There's obviously no 1-800-HELP number. So I'm just screaming at them all the time. I'm like, excuse me, you need to answer me. Why is this acceptable? Someone has just hacked into my account. You're literally not answering me. I gave you all my information. I gave them extra information because I get they have to make sure it's me, but it's like, did you make sure the person that hacked into my account was me? No. So here we are. That's why TikTok was evil. It should have been banned and just stayed that way, I suppose. I don't know. But I did get my blue check on Instagram. So woohoo to me. So no one's stealing my Instagram. But pray for me with the TikTok because it was making me in like such a bad mood for a couple days. And now I'm just like, you know what? I've read so many stories that people said this happened to them. They had no luck. And I think the part that's going to frustrate me most is I'm going to have to just get everyone to come find me again. It's like hard enough to have everyone find me once, but you're going to have to find me twice. Let's not make third times a charm because I don't want to be hacked again. And I'm doing like a freaking thumbprint, like video information, anything I got to do for this time so no one steals it. But let's dive into some other drama besides my drama of the Valley. Guys, this is possibly the best show currently on reality TV. I mean, every episode is so jam-packed with drama. I would pay to have the whole season out right now. I would pay. Like those fights that you buy on like HBO, like $100 right now for the whole season of The Valley. And then we'll get into the after show because that's just as juicy too. It's like sad because we're watching everyone's life fall apart and this is the real life. This isn't made up. But it's making for excellent TV. So everyone finds out that Jax goes to rehab. Jason comes over to Brittany's house, says he walked him in, signed him in, he's there. So he's living proof that he knows Jax is there and he's there for the 30 days, whether he likes it or not. And you know he's going to stay all the 30 days because it's $30,000 whether you stay for 2 days or 30. So you might as well stay for 30. Janet and Michele come over with wine, of course, and they ordered like Chinese takeout. That's just perfect, I feel like, for Brittany right now. She's so stressed. And you know what else has to make her stress? This rental house she's in, these god-awful red couches that they sit on. The house is nice and like there's a pool and everything, so at least she has that for cruise. But I mean, she's probably like, not only should Jax have left that house, because he was the one person and he was the problem. Now he's in rehab for 30 days and she can't go to her house. And that had to be really hard for Cruz. Like, as we have found out, he's already struggling with autism and now he's just like uprooted in this house and his dad's not there. It would have been hard enough if him and Brittany stayed in the house and Jax left him, like wasn't living there. But now he's got to relocate to this house that has these ugly, looks so uncomfortable couches. It's just awful. But Brittany said she hopes that Jax takes this seriously. And Jason said, well, every minute he's in there and if he's not focused, it's a minute wasted and he's being a bad dad. And she's like, did you tell him all that? And he's like, no, I just thought of it right now. But you know what? Jax will see that he said that. And I just didn't have high hopes for Jax going into this program because immediately he's like, do I have to stay the whole time? You have a problem. So yeah, you need to stay the whole time. And Brittany's like, I just want him to be honest. Like he needs to go there and he needs to say he has substance issues because we now cat's out of the bag, even though we already knew it before the season started, that he's wildly addicted to cocaine, but he really didn't even have to tell us that. Like we knew that. I didn't really, I guess, realize how bad the problem was though. And I'm sure Brittany thought it would stop once they got older / also they had a kid. And it didn't. So she just hopes he's honest because he's in a mental health facility. And per Jax blaming and putting everything off because he's a narcissist, he will come back and he will say, oh, I only acted like that because I have personality issues. No, you have drug issues and you need to go there and tell them that. And then you should probably after that go to an actual rehab facility that's for drug and alcohol abuse, not just a mental health facility. You need both, honestly. But poor Brittany said she's not the same naive little girl. And then they show a flashback to when Jax first brought her around into SUR, no bubbies, like tall, skinny Kentucky girl, just totally clueless. And she's like, I'm not that person anymore. I have a child. And it's true. Jesse and Jax are so much alike that they don't understand why their wives are prioritizing their children over these children men. We'll refer to them as. They can't wrap their head around it. So if Jax and Jesse are acting poorly in the household, Brittany and Michele are like, well, this cannot be how we raise these children. So you need to leave or I need to leave and it's done. Like I can put up with your stuff, but now that there's a child here, no. And it hurts their ego for sure. But Jesse hosts a fancy tea party for Kristen and Luke. This man in another life is gay. I'm sorry, he is. And if he wasn't such a douche, he'd be a perfect husband. He's just so fancy. He has Hermes china. Like, he wasn't letting Michele take that, and or he just bought it himself one day. Because, fun fact, I'll just dial this in while we're talking about the Hermes china. On the after show, Michele was saying how Jesse and her were very successful when they were doing their real estate. They were selling $1 million houses. Like one house they sold was $60 million, like really just raking it all in. And she said, we did have a lot of money and then Jesse spent it all. I do not think that woman's lying at all. Honestly, I don't think Michele and Brittany are really lying at all. I think Jax and Jesse are the liars. But this is definitely true because just Jesse's spending habits and the stuff he has, like he's giving Hermes china out to Luke and Kristen because he wants to look fancy and rich on camera. And he has like these fancy croissants he bought at probably an overpriced bakery. And he's just so douchey. That's why it's like I go back and forth. And last week when I posted, who would you rather choose, Jesse or Jax? And so many people wrote to me on my TikTok that I now have no access to, the bear. And it's like, yeah, I get your point, but we really need to stick to the two options that were given, Jesse or Jax. There's no third option. And it's like, I guess I would pick Jesse, but he just probably is so douchey. Jax is like more laid back, where it's like, at least he's not trying to like do all this and blow through all the money to buy china, but he was also blowing all the money to literally buy blow, because I can only imagine how much that cost. And he had anger issues. So I don't know what's worse, Jesse blowing through all the money and being a douche, or Jax doing the coke and spending all the money that way and then yelling. That's why I think I'd rather just pick Jesse, I guess. But Jesse then sits down and does some girl math. He thinks that Aaron and Michele, so this is Michelle's boyfriend we've met, have been together for 2 years. So he says that this honey company, and then they show like Aaron has like this little honey company, love a good honey. And I'm sure there's so many out there because everyone's just so healthy out there. But he said all of a sudden this like honey showed up at the house, and I was like, oh, I'm going to go to Whole Foods, but I can't find this honey. And she's like, oh, I actually buy it from this little like store, and it's by Canyon something. And then he's like, and where do you think Aaron's house is? And then Luke and Kristen are like, oh, Canyon Run. Maybe that's what it was called. And then he says she was going on these long hikes in the morning, but she would get all dolled up, like do her hair, do her makeup to go on the hike. Now, I don't know how some people go to the gym, especially if you're single. Maybe you like want to pick somebody up at the gym. You like foof yourself up a little. I'm like, hair looks scary, pulled back, and no makeup. I mean, I'm wearing deodorant, so I'm not smelling, but I'm not looking good because I don't care, because I am married, and because I've also always been like that. I'm there to work out. I'm not there to have a beauty pageant. So don't look at me if I frighten you. But why are you hiking outdoors with like done hair and makeup? That was weird to me. The honey is like one thing, because who doesn't want a good fresh honey? And supporting local, we love that. Privately owned things. Like maybe she didn't just want to go to Whole Foods, Jesse, and give money to Whole Foods. She wanted to do like a little cute privately owned company. But the hiking up the mountain, because Kristen said, you are not hiking up that mountain and wearing all that makeup because you are sweating. It is hot up there. So he said before they got divorced, they had a conversation, and Michele did admit to cheating on Jesse. So he said, if it wasn't with Aaron, then she cheated on me twice, because he is dead set that they began this love affair before they were divorced, just mainly because of the honey. Because he said once they started dating, he looked up Aaron's Instagram and then saw this honey company and then clicked on it and he went, the mother effing honey. I'm not going to lie. My brain would go there too, because it's always odd when people say, oh, now I'm dating this person. And you go, oh, we actually met that person like 2 years ago and you were like married. That's kind of strange. Or like, you know how sometimes, I always thought this was strange too. So you're in high school, y'all go to high school together, and then like years pass and maybe you're even done college, and then people like date each other from high school. So it's like you went to high school together, you maybe were friends, or you maybe weren't even friends, didn't talk to each other, and then years pass by and then you're like, oh, let's date and then let's get married. Like, that's kind of weird. So that's almost like what this is. Maybe Aaron and Michele met and, you know, she was buying the honey and then nothing happened. And then 2 years later, so she did say that in the after show. She said she met him and, you know, she was still with Jesse. And then he had a girlfriend. And one day they saw each other and he's like, oh, you know, me and so just went to Japan and we just broke up, me and my girlfriend. And then Michele was like, oh, I actually just got divorced. And then he's like, do you want to have lunch? So you know that even if they weren't cheating, they had a little secret crush on each other while in other relationships, because you don't have that conversation with someone and then say, oh, you just broke up with someone? You want to go on a date? It's like, give me time. But see, Michele was so checked out. It's like Paige and Craig. Some people would be like, oh, well, how could Paige flaunt around town at the Super Bowl like a month or two after her and Craig broke up a 3-year relationship? It's because she was already mentally checked out. To me, as long as there's no talking, like DMing, sexting, obviously no physical content, you could go on a date the next day. You could. You're technically not doing anything wrong. And for people that are mentally checked out, it's because they really were not in the relationship. And Michele revealed on the after show, she tried to leave before, like a whole year before they actually did end up separating. And he was like begging her to stay. And she probably was like, you know what? Just try one more time to stay because we have a daughter. And then she was checking out and she was getting an apartment behind his back, planning her escape route. So maybe she was kind of having this crush on Aaron, but I am wondering if we're going to find out who she definitely cheated on Jesse with. So apparently the director that she was having dates with, or maybe he's the one that cheated, was Quentin Tarantino. So I don't know if they're going to say it on the show or the after show or what, or the reunion. Apparently they filmed the reunion. So that's going to be a reunion that's got to be a 3-parter. If frickin' Beverly Hills was 3 parts, The Valley has to be 3 parts, and give it all to me at once. And then give me all the bloopers. Give me the whole 10 to 12 hour day. I mean, all the drama in this cast is you need a freaking 24-hour day. Like, Jax may have to dig up the energy drinks to sit there the whole time since he won't be having the cocaine or alcohol. But this is going to be a lot of drama because there's drama happening with everybody with their home life and each other. So it's just going to be a lot at this reunion, but it's going to be very good. But Jesse wants to plan a trip for everyone to go to Santa Barbara. And then in the middle of this, Janet calls and invites Kristen to Dave & Buster's for her birthday. Now, they have not made up. The last time they have encountered each other was 5 days before this, and they're cried, drunk, kind of fighting about an apology. So Kristen's kind of giving an apology, but Kristen's not accepting the apology because she thinks it's not genuine. So I will say this is Janet reaching the olive branch out to Kristen, but also sometimes if I were these people, in the back of my brain, like Kristen's probably half, that's so nice of Janet that she wants to include me in her birthday. But then she's probably also like, but we're like on a TV show together and like we do have to actually film together. That's why Vanderpump could not go on. Ariana refused to film with Tom. So therefore, what are we supposed to have 100 events every day? And we're going to film people all these different places? Like, no. Or like Teresa. We still don't really know what's happening with Jersey, but I really think by her saying, I refuse to film with Melissa and Joe, they don't like that. They don't want you to put your foot down like that, because what are they supposed to do? Just come to your house and film you with your people and then go film Melissa? No, the point is you're all supposed to film together. But Kristen is going to go, which is good. I think that was good, and it seemed like a fun time. But before that, Nia takes Kristen to pregnancy acupuncture, which I have never heard before, which is very interesting. And I think fast forward to today, it's so great that Nia and Kristen are pregnant together, because Nia is a pro. She's been pregnant multiple times, had birth, and Kristen's in good hands being pregnant with her, because she could just pick her brain of everything. And she said that because they did Mention It All podcast together, and it was like cute having the two pregnant ladies. But Luke visits Danny and talks about baby making, and that he's ready to propose to Kristen. And I can't wait to see that this season. So that's going to be their cast trip. And what perfect time to do it on, like a cast trip and all that, and have all that filmed. As much drama as these people put up with, how nice is it to have these like special moments filmed? Like, I mean, there's weddings. Your wedding is filmed on these shows. Like the engagement. How many people are standing there with a giant, nice professional camera filming your engagement? You may not even get a phone film, you know? But then Danny drops a bomb, and he's revealing. So there's this boys chat there's 20 guys in it. And Luke was like, I'm not in it. And Danny's like, well, be glad, because I don't even want to be in it. So it's like douche locker room talk. And Jesse said he doesn't understand how Michele is affording her place, because she hasn't made commission in 2 years. That sounds really dramatic for like a seasoned real estate agent. So I'm not buying that. And he said he has evidence of her sleeping with a billionaire for $1,500 a night. How the hell would he have evidence of that and know that? What does he think? The billionaire is calling him and showing him his receipts? Was he writing her checks and saying, thanks for your services for the night, $1,500? And also, let's be real, if it's a billionaire, we're charging more than $1,500 a night. But how dare Jesse say that? How about we say that about him? Like the woman he's sleeping with in Orange County is some lonely rich housewife and writing him checks so he can buy his Hermes China and go to Capri. I mean, just the fact that they have a giant man group chat and this is what they talk about in it, like shows how disgusting these men are in it. Jason said he is not in the group chat because he has an Android, but he is so thrilled that he has an Android. So Luke should thank his lucky stars he's not in the group chat, because it sounds disgusting also. But Jason and Jesse then meet for coffee and talk about Danny getting drunk on Halloween, grabbing Jasmine's girlfriend's butt and asking Jasmine to get a drink for Daddy. Daddy is AKA Danny. I kind of enjoyed seeing little Daniel, as Nia would call him. I love that she calls him Daniel, drunk last season on Janet's baby moon, because he looks like he just shifts personalities. Not in like a violent, crazy way like Jax, but just like a totally different version of himself. Now, I'm going to say two things. And remember, it's my opinion, as Tamron Judge would say. If Danny is like grabbing Jasmine or her girlfriend's butt, yeah, it's like, it's a little inappropriate, but they're lesbians. So like if I was Nia, I wouldn't be like, oh my God, I can't believe you're grabbing another woman's butt, because that's too sexual and you're going to cheat on me. Well, they don't want to sleep with Danny. So I don't really think that's that weird. Also, they're friends. It's not a stranger. If you're grabbing a stranger butt and they're straight, so possibly Danny and her could sleep together, that's a no. That's a definite no. And then my number 2 point. Jasmine is going to cling on to this for relevancy for the show. She is so not needed on the Valley. And I like Jasmine. I don't have anything against Jasmine at all. But honestly, all the couples on the show have so much going on and we know them better. Like we know Brittany and Jax for years. So we're very highly invested in them. I'm not invested at all that Danny was blacked out on Halloween. We don't even have footage because they weren't filming this. And he grabbed your girlfriend, who you both are lesbians. So Danny has no shot with you, but because he was blacked out. And he said, go get a drink for daddy. I mean, that's not earth shattering news. And we got a lot of other issues that are way worse than that. So I just really feel like she's going to cling on to that. And like now everyone all of a sudden is going to be like, oh my God, Danny has like a split personality when he gets drunk. It's like, what does the man get drunk twice a year? They got so many freaking kids. I mean, and he does not strike me as the type of like a Jesse and Jax that's leaving the house on the reg and leaving Nia and getting blacked out and like touching boobies and having underwear on the sink with baby wipes. And no, that's, so I think Jasmine's reaching a little bit for this. It's low hanging fruit to me. But Kristen decides to go to Janet's party, and Zach thinks that Janet is scheming about this. So Luke, Kristen, and Zach come over to Brittany's. And I feel like this was filmed. I mean, they did like a lot all the same day Jax was in rehab. Everyone had different clothes on for this. So it may have been like the next day. But because I feel like they film all this quite close together with everything happening. And we got to remember, Jax isn't there for any of this. And he's only away for 30 days. So I think they filmed a lot without him, which, to be honest, that's great and fine by me. No one needs to hear your sob story and lies. But Zach thinks that Janet is scheming by trying to have Kristen on her side now and then push Zach away. So I could see that. But then Luke lays the pretty woman rumor on Brittany, Zach, and Kristen. May I just add, while Luke is in the confessional and saying his little side of the story when he's about to tell these ladies about this awful news on Zach, he had a glow up. Like Luke did not have that chain on last year. His skin is looking better, his hair is looking better, and his just wardrobe is looking better. So Luke had the housewives glow up. He's just looking a little more like, I watched myself on TV and I didn't like very much what I saw. How do you not do that? I mean, these people must just study themselves and just think some of these times, like they're good at reality TV. So they're forgetting that they're on camera, which is what we want them to do. So like, you know, maybe they're not standing up straight, or maybe their hair isn't perfect, and maybe they're acting a fool like Danny was, even though that wasn't on film. God, we just need filming like all year, honestly. But he definitely had the glow up, and I approve. So Brittany is obviously just irate because her and Michele have a lot in common right now. They're both dealing with these annoying men, and it hurts. Even though they are over them, it still hurts. And we got to remember, we are now hearing all of it. So it's embarrassing. And she's literally being accused of being a sex worker. So they all go to Dave and Buster's, obviously, minus Zach. Brittany pulls Michele and Nia aside and reveals the hooker rumor. And Nia calls Daniel, over. And he knows he's in trouble because what happens in the boys group chat stays in the boys group chat. And Danny technically went against that code and oath, but he told Luke, who is another boy that should probably be in the boys chat. And then all the girls in the confessional and on the after show were like, we all have seen that group chat because either the guys do end up telling us something, or we just see it on their phone, and or maybe they want to spy on the phone too. So it's like cat's out of the bag. No one is really having secrecy with this group chat. But I'll tell you what they're doing right now. Currently removing Danny from the group chat, and he confirmed that. But he's probably better off not being in that gross group chat. Basically, all they were doing was like shitting on their women and sending parent memes. Like, it's like, I think we're good. Jax and Jesse thought there was a mole in the group chat, and now they think the mole could have been Danny because all this information was getting leaked. So apparently it was like when Jax had that girl over and blah, 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 blah. But like I said, the women can just pick up the phone and read through it. all these people apparently have passwords on their phone, but they said they know each other's passwords. My husband and I don't do the password thing on our phone because it's just like pointless. So I can walk over to his phone if I want and look at some weird boys chat anytime I want. That doesn't mean my husband is ratting out his boy in his chat. So that is definitely a chat that I would love to see evidence of, but never be involved in it. But Danny said in the confessional, like, why did Luke do that? But we need to remember Daniel, who Luke is now with. He is with Kristen Doty, the professional pot stirrer. So he is officially clocked in. He did two things, had the glow up, and he's scheming just like Kristen. They're here to play and win and have top paycheck. And especially now that Jax is gone for 30 days, Luke's got to pick it up and start doing this. He knew what he was doing by repeating it to the girls. He knew that they were then going to take that information and fly right over to Michele and say that. Michele is so upset though, and I feel so bad. She said she just wants to get divorced so she can never see him again. Sorry to break it to you though, you do have to see him since you have a child. I feel bad for her. Of all people to deal with, Jesse and Jax would be awful. Obviously, these women are so thankful and blessed that they have their children. But I'm sure if they could rewind the clock, they would pick somebody else to have a child with. Like, it's going to be an uphill battle for them. On the after show, Jesse said he represents himself. So, man, he must be a nightmare. Michelle's lawyer is like, I feel bad, like you're really racking up my bill. Because anytime you talk to your lawyer, they're not talking to you for fun and they're not doing free work. So he said, why don't you just text him this and then just talk it out with him? And she'll text him or email him. And he went, have your lawyer send me this. And she's like, do you understand? Every time my lawyer has to ask you something and then report back to me, it costs me money. Well, he wouldn't know because he's representing himself. He is probably a damn nightmare for that lawyer. I mean, I don't think it's smart to represent yourself either when there's a child involved. And if you do end up going to court, they don't like that you don't have a lawyer. Sorry. And they're also, her lawyer is going to say, he has made it difficult on purpose for my client and it's costing her money for no reason, when they should just be settling this at mediation and or just amicably over text messages. He can't have a lawyer because he spent too much money on those croissants and that Hermes china and going to Capri. But Michele is crying at Dave & Buster's and Janet is like, I don't know anyone that cries at Dave & Buster's. You're here to have fun. And she's like double fisting medieval time beer pitchers basically and winning all these tickets because she wants to get all these tchotchkes in the store that usually you like are so annoyed that your child is bringing home. But she's like, oh, I need $25,000 tickets to get or she's like, I need 25,000 tickets. Sorry, not dollars. To get this sign, this thing, and this other thing. Isn't that crazy though, when you were young and you would go to these places and you're like playing and the tickets are rolling out and you think you have so much and you're so excited. And then you get up there and you get this little dinky thing that like you could buy at the dollar store that would have been cheaper than your parent just spending like $20 or $30 on tickets to buy this like eraser that's shaped like a dinosaur. Like you never get those big prizes. You just don't. And if you do, it's because you've now spent so much money that you could have just gone to the toy store and bought a better toy for less. But I guess it's all about the fun. And they did look like they had fun besides this like pretty woman hooker rumor. But it is just nasty. I mean, it's one thing if Michele cheated on him. It's another thing that he's accusing the mother of his child for being a sex worker. Like getting paid to have sex with somebody, no. She's not doing that. Now, maybe Jesse will have to because then in the after show, that's when she reveals that he like went through all their money. She said he doesn't give her any child support, but currently they kind of have the child 50-50. So personally, like my opinion is unless there is something wrong like Jax with the parent, I think the parent should have 50-50. And then therefore, I think no one should pay each other child support if you're equally sharing the child. So you're equally buying groceries, running up your water bill, the gas and the car, driving them places, stuff like that. But then when they do extracurricular activities, like if they're in sports or dance or music, you should be splitting that 50-50. Like everything should just be 50-50. Like if you pay for school, if the school costs, oh my God, I just actually heard Lala say on her podcast that she's looking into kindergarten because her daughter Ocean is the same age as my oldest daughter. Or no, maybe, no, she has to be younger. My daughter's in first grade right now. Maybe she meant for Sosa. Maybe she's just planning ahead. I don't know. But anyway, she said that it's $50,000. Who's your kid going to school with? Like Tom Cruise's children? Like A-list celebrity actors? Do the Kardashians go there? Wild. For kindergarten? Wild. So at least she'll have somebody share it with her because I'm sure she'll say to Randall, you have to split this with me. I really don't know how that works, though, if you are gung-ho on private school and the other person says, well, they could just go to public school because they live in a nice area. I'm not sure how the school is. You don't necessarily, if it's a nice public school, have to send them to private school. That's a choice. So I don't know if the other person is just so adamant about public school and they can't decide, then the court says, well, if you're really gung-ho on the private school, you're stuck with the whole bill. I don't know. That's why Jesse was like, we need to move Isabella to Orange County. I'm taking her with me. And you just for school. It's like, no, it's because you met someone yesterday that lives there. No, thanks. I'm sure there's nice schools where they are. I mean, hello, Beverly Hills, she, like 90210. Is anyone going to that public school? I don't know. I remember on the OC, if everyone remembers that show, that was my jam in high school. They went to a private school because then remember when Marissa shot Trey, Ryan's brother, she got expelled from the private school and then she had to go to public school for just like her senior year. And they made it look like it was like so awful. And I'm like, I'm sure the public school in like Newport Beach is fine-ish. But see, that's how rich these people are. They're so rich, they pay their taxes for the public school, but then all the rich people send their kids to the private school. So then all that is left in the public school is, I guess, the not as rich people. But that was so funny. They made it seem like it was just such a nightmare for her to go there. And then they were like petitioning her getting back in the private school. But that was self-defense. So I was on Marissa's side and I was always rooting for Marissa and Ryan to get back together. That was like heart-wrenching at all times. And then Summer and Seth, Adam Brody, and Rachel Bilson actually dated for a long time in real life, but current day, they are not together. It's just, I was always like, no, Summer and Seth forever in real life and on the show. But the Valley is so freaking juicy this season. And then we got Brittany on Watch What Happens Live. She was not holding back. So they did like some dirty questions and I filmed the best one. So this is Brittany doing some major shade to Jax. And I love this Brittany 2.0.
On a scale from 1 to 10, how would you rate Jax in the bedroom?
Oh, Lord. There was times when he was about a 7 or an 8, but majority of the time, no stamina, no nothing. I'd say a 2 or 3.
Okay.
The woman howling in the background, that would have been me. I mean, get it. You know why he probably had no stamina? Because he was high on coke and drunk and like no libido. So I hope Brittany is having the best sex of her life. She did reveal she does not speak to Julian at all. So my husband, I had him on the pod the other week and he's like, Brittany, I do have to say I'm like team Brittany, but I'm team Jax on like no sleeping with anyone in the friend group. And I'm like, yeah, I feel like he like really wasn't friends with them. I think it's convenient for Jax to lean on it and say like, oh, he's my best friend. It's like, no, he wasn't. Nobody barely knows who he is. Lala hooked up with him first and even brought him into the friend group. So it's almost like he was a mutual friend of Jax and Brittany. He sounded like a moocher too. Like Jax was like, hey, do you want to go to a hockey game? And he's like, yeah. And then they were like, he would never ever pay for like the food or drinks or Uber, anything, and obviously not reimbursed for the hockey game. So Jax, he wasn't your friend. He was a moocher and just wanted to like hang out with you for clout and free shit and probably free Coke, honestly. So I hope Brittany finds a nice man, because then at the end she's like, I just want someone to like laugh with and funny and be honest and loving and love Cruz. And that's the other thing. She does already have a child. So maybe she could find someone that also has a child. I don't know what's easier. Someone that is kind of in the same boat as her and they get together so they like kind of understand, or someone that hasn't been married or had a kid yet. But then it may be really hard for them to understand. So I could see Brittany going both ways, like finding someone that already has a child. And then that would maybe kind of solve, because she said she always thought she'd have like 3 kids by now. But she's like, obviously that's on hold. And now that Cruz is autistic, she said he needs like a lot of care. So obviously like he's like my only focus right now. So maybe that would be good for Brittany, finding a guy that already has another child, like not too far apart in age either. And that could be like her second child. So, and then that could be a sibling for Cruz. And I just wish Brittany the best, because she is an honest, good person. Like on the after show, so it wasn't this one, it was the one before, Kristen said Jack's lies are just so out of control that back in the day when he met all of them, he said that he was in Iraq. What's wrong with you? Why would you make such a wild and offensive, by the way, lie up? Because that's so disrespectful for the people that actually sacrifice their life and do that for our country. And you were not one of them. And do you think these friends are like never going to find out that you didn't do that? I also find that bizarre. Like if these are going to be your friends and it's not just a meet and greet for the night where you can lie and never see people again, like why would you want to get caught in these lies? And then, I mean, they're showing all these old episodes of Vanderpump Rules, I think to like reinsure us that how much of a train wreck Jax was. I don't know. He's got a lot of damage control to do. And like I said before, so when I listened to Nia and Kristen's guest appearance on Mention It All, they said exactly what I said. Jax only, I think in my opinion, came out on Alex Baskin's Hot Mic podcast and revealed his addiction problems to like save face, because now that's all we're seeing. So I guess he thinks in his brain, some people are like, oh, well, he did go get help and that's good. And now he's admitting it and now he's sober and everything. It's like, no, I think he did that podcast so we would like, yeah, we would feel bad for him. But it's not working, because also you went to this mental health facility last summer. You did Alex Baskin's podcast last month and you said, oh, I'm 83 days sober. So that means after you left that mental health facility and you were blowing up your life and everyone's like, you have an addiction problem, you still then had alcohol and cocaine. I mean, he said that he just can't have alcohol either because he does cocaine. So it's kind of like Carl's situation, which I know I said before, but also poor Schwartz is like stuck with Jesse and Jax on the after show. And he's probably like, what did I do to deserve this? And Schwartz said something kind of funny. So they were talking about like Jax's like coke problem.
You did blow like most people have casual drinks, which is actually, I mean, but with fentanyl, that's, yeah.
Such an aggressive word, blow.
No, I can't believe we're talking about this.
I mean, way to blow up his spot, Schwartz, but we love you for it. Like, he's like, oh yeah, you did blow like people have casual drinks. We're talking about Jesse blowing through all the money to like buy China. Literally just imagine how much money Jax spent on cocaine. And Schwartz said the fentanyl, that's the other thing. It's not like how it was at one period of time long ago when they all used to go out when Vanderpump Rules first started, drink, have some coke and like just having a good old time. It's so dangerous to do these things now with all the fentanyl that is just running rampant everywhere. So it's like you could do it one night, Jax, and then you'll be dead. And then how's Brittany gonna tell your kid, oh, daddy's dead because he's an idiot? Like when he gets older, oh yeah, he decided to like keep blowing lines of coke instead of hanging out with us. He said he couldn't even like function without doing coke, like going out. He's like, if we had an event, if I knew we were going to like a dinner, if I was going to the bar, well, I think he was like working in that bar all the time. So you're doing coke every day? First of all, so dangerous, so irresponsible, and just so expensive. But that, yeah, you have a problem. Like could you imagine going to Jax's Studio City, which already looks a little ghetto, sorry. And then the owner is doing lines of coke in the bathroom? No, that's supposed to be the guest, not you. I mean, I wonder how those partners feel about that. It's like all these people investing in these Vanderpump men. Like Greg probably wanted to shoot himself in the foot investing in Tom Sandoval and Tom Schwartz, because Schwartz is like fine and whatever, but like Sandoval with the scandal ruined Schwartz and Sandy's. And then now Jax with this, just being a mega douche as always. And then saying he's blowing coke in the bathroom there. No one wants to go there. Brittany, I guess, isn't opening her bar, that Brit's Studio City or Brit's, whatever she said she was going to do. She can't do that. I'm sorry. Like her mom said, bars ruin your family and your life. Now that Brittany's kind of single mom in it, she certainly can't be running a bar. So that has just diminished, and she just never really mentioned that again. But I can't see that for her, and I don't want that for her. I think she's really going to dive in with the autism awareness, which is great. And I mean, she now has the podcast all by herself. I could see her doing something with like Michele, like the two scorned, burned women that like hate the men, and do something like that, or like screw the men, honestly. Oh, she threw Kristen's baby shower too. So pretty. All the pictures, it was like wildflower theme. Love it. The flowers were gorgeous. But we're going to take a little break, and then we're going to recap Summerhouse. And we're back, and we're at the slumber party, being a bed bug. This, like I already said, is one of the best themes they've had for a party. And I did like Carl's pirate party, but I like the nighttime parties, which they really never have. It's usually during the day. So I like this, that it's like nighttime. And I feel like people are like letting loose or drinking more because it's nighttime. Like I feel like some of the people aren't day drinkers, and they're like, no, I'm not doing this. Like Paige never really drinks that much, but I feel like she was like kicking back and enjoying the hard work that she said she's put in. Like everyone's just in the bed, and this was their main goal. So then we got Carl and Sierra chit-chatting. Now, this is the most awkward conversation. I'm ready for Pauly D to pop out of the corner and be like, awkward. Like I felt so bad for Sierra being put in this predicament because they're all friends. But when you like kind of confess your love for a friend and the other person doesn't feel that way at all, it's like makes things very awkward. But Carl said he thinks he's done with blondes for a while, and that Sierra should be too, hinting at that he's not a blonde. And she needs a brunette, aka him. And she said, I think I'm done with white men for a while. And Carl's like, oh, well, there goes my chance. And it's like, Carl, I don't think that was the only thing blowing your chance. I think it's that you're like a little nerdy and just not her vibe. But Sierra does have interesting taste because Austin and West are very different. Like I feel like West and Carl are more alike than Austin and Carl. But I think Sierra just doesn't even want to touch another Bravo man with a 10-foot pole, to be honest. Like, I'm surprised she even dabbled with West last summer just because of Austin, because Austin was worse to her than West was, because he just totally kind of blew her off and then was like hooking up with Lindsay. That was definitely like a slap in the face. But he's like, can I just say something? And Sierra's like immediately like, no, what are you going to say? Oh my God, no, Carl. And he's like, I've had a crush on you. And then he just confesses all her positive qualities. He's like, not only are you like gorgeous and wildly attractive, but like you're very smart and have a good heart. And I love that you're a nurse. And I do love that Carl was giving her all these compliments, because after West and Austin burning her, it is nice to have somebody say these nice things about you, even if you're not going to say back to them, yeah, I have a crush on you too, let's go on a date. And he's like, have you ever had feelings? Like Carl's just totally putting himself out there. And Lindsay is literally floating around the party. So it's like pretty wild. And she's been pretty tame, pregnant, which is actually fascinating. Usually when people are pregnant, they're like a little wild, but Lindsay is the opposite. Like she's very calm, and I'm digging Lindsay being pregnant. Like Wes said, be pregnant every single summer. Because I feel like she just was mellow and like easier for everyone to get along with. And I feel like the drama between her and Carl are over with too, but she's always activated every summer. And this is the most calm she's ever been. And of all times, I would think she'd be a little activated because she's pregnant. But Sierra's like, you know, maybe before you were engaged. And he's like, oh, damn it. And she's like, it's nothing personal. I'm just like really good with Lindsay right now. And I would never want to cross that line. And Sierra knows it would never be a long-term thing with Carl. So even if she was kind of like, yeah, like let's go on a date, not worth it for Lindsay to turn from calm pregnant Lindsay to activated let's burn the house down Lindsay, because that would definitely be ultimate betrayal. But I think Sierra handled that really well. Jesse is telling the girls he's a little annoyed that they're repeating things to Lexi. Paige said, well, then don't tell us anything. And like you're telling us stuff and then you say don't get involved. And he still doesn't understand his extra flirtatious behavior is inappropriate. I know they're all friends. And I guess at the end of the day, we know he wouldn't just hook up with Sierra behind Lexi's back while she's not there for the weekend. But he's falling into Sierra's chest on the pool. Then he's like rubbing her feet. Then they're like grinding on each other at the pirate party. And he's like, oh, I've always had a crush on you and blah, blah, blah. I just don't understand why he thinks that's fine. Like Paige was like, if I was trying to date you and you were the guy like I liked, I'd be done. I'd kill you over all that, seeing that. And I think that's what what Jesse doesn't understand that Paige is trying to say. Like, it's not a hearsay thing. You're being filmed. So don't say, oh, I wasn't being that bad. And then 6 months from now, when Lexi sees the footage, no, it's going to be that bad. Like she's going to see it with her own eyes. You downplaying it is annoying. It's actually just so weird to me how flirty Jesse is if he's so possessive of Lexi. Like Lexi has revealed to us he's the psychopath that's FaceTiming her multiple times a day. And he's the one that is love bombing her kind of. So it's like, well, then why are you the one flirting? It's like, can't have your cake and eat it too. So he said that he was only flirting with Sierra like that to make her feel bad for what West put her through, like a pity party. And I think he thought everyone would think it's like a joke, but it's so not a joke. Like no one needs your pity. I'm so confused why you think she even cares that much. And Sierra is standing right there. And she's like, no, I don't need your pity. And you know what? F you. It's really like, I'm done with you. And good for her. She is the hottest one in the house. I highly doubt she needs pity flirting from Jesse, when also West is his best friend. So that's kind of weird as well. But then also, I don't think she would want any flirting or pity flirting, whatever you are referring it as, when you're trying to hook up with another girl in the house. Like, don't put Sierra in that predicament. And I feel like that's how Sierra felt, like, oh, Lexi doesn't like me now because you're flirting with me and I'm just being nice back. And I'm glad that she was like, no, you know what? F you, move along. So then they all like get to dancing, and West in his little pup pajamas, the bananas and pajamas, he has this little candle stick and he's like dancing around with it. And Paige and Amanda are like, you know what? That candle is everything. And Sierra's like, yeah, that's pretty funny. I really wish things worked out between Sierra and West, because obviously the beginning of the season, I was like really mad that he burned our girl like that. But now I'm like, no, I do like West. I don't like Jesse. I'll say that. I don't like Jesse at all. I think he's like just an annoying, flirting, like thinks he's so hot. And it's like, you are not hot at all. Sorry. So I do feel sad for West and Sierra that they didn't work out, but I'm wondering why West didn't want it to work out. I think he thought he was going to get like all these girls flood into the DMs, but it's like, who cares though? Is it worth it? Because what if you like weren't even cast back on the show? DMs would have stopped and Sierra would have been there for the long haul. It is annoying when the fame goes to these men, because it's usually the men in that sense. Like fame goes to the women's heads on these shows, but not in the sense of like, oh, I'm not going to be faithful to you because there's so many other options. It's more just like they think they're really cool. But the men, as soon as they're on these shows, are like, oh, I can't settle down with you. God forbid all these hoes want to like flood through. It's like, who cares? Sierra's hot and she's fun to hang out with. So like, who cares if you're passing up a couple of hoes that wouldn't be there for the long haul or that you would be embarrassed to introduce your parents to? So, because I did like them together. Because the fact that we're focusing on Jesse and Lexi so much this season, like when I had my husband on the other week, he's like, why is the whole episode about these two? He's like, I don't like either of them. I'm over it. Agreed. I didn't mind when we were like talking about Sierra and West and like seeing their relationship blossom because they also weren't fighting every weekend. Like Jesse and Lexi have turned into the Carl and Lindsay of this summer, and they've only known each other for like 5 weeks. At least Carl and Lindsay knew each other for years and were engaged. So it's very serious. But all the girls get on the bed and chit chat. So it's Sierra, Amanda, Paige, and she's telling them about the Carl conversation. And Sierra is just so mad at Jesse, as she should be. She's like, I'm done with him. And they're like, yeah, we're pretty sure he doesn't need to give you any pity because he thinks you're sad about some guy holding that candle. And then they pan to him in the pajamas with the candle, even though they were just complimenting the candle. But I mean, Jesse is really hitting a 0 for me this season. And I didn't love him last season, but I really, really don't like him this season. They all get McDonald's delivered to the house. Lexi is in her room crying, talking to her sister about everything. And it's very interesting because he is making her look like the stage 5 clinger crazy person, like, oh, annoying 26-year-old girl in her room crying while we're all hanging out and being cool eating McDonald's. And it's actually him. That's why I'm so glad she blew up his spot last episode, because all these episodes, I was thinking, oh my God, she's so annoying. Like, look, he's complaining to the girls, how like stage 5 clingy she is. And it's actually him. It's actually turned out to be him. So all the guys fall asleep on the giant bed trampoline outside. They're watching Zootopia. And then everyone kind of leaves and then Wes stays. And it starts pouring rain at like 4 a.m. He runs inside. I feel like he can fall asleep anywhere because a couple episodes ago, he's fallen asleep face down in his room with all the lights on. I mean, I certainly couldn't do that. I just couldn't. Obviously, he left the room because it was raining, but how did you sleep under all those comforters in the summer outside in the Hamptons? Probably freaking sweating and dying, sweating to death. But Schwartz's visit has come to an end and he's waking up singing strange songs to himself. He's so odd, but I love Schwartzy. I don't love his dirty feet that I'm seeing on the bed, but I would like to see him on this show. Like, what do you guys think about that? I would love to see him switch over because as he comes in, talks to Amanda, Paige, and Sierra, he's like, make sure you keep the friend group tight. And he's like, I used to be like this with my friend group and have a family, and now everyone hates each other. And it's like, it's true. That's why I feel like Schwartz needs to get out of LA. He needs to get away from all those toxic men. Like, Jax is crazy and toxic. Jesse is a toxic jerk. And Sandoval screwed up his life. I feel like his marriage imploded because of that. Blew through all of his money because of him. They're not even filming a show together. So I wonder how much they actually hang out. It's like, Schwartz, just go to New York. I could see Schwartz being in New York, and I could totally see him summering with all of them in the Hamptons. He like fit well. He meshed. Because I remember when they did Winter House, I didn't watch that. And I think it was him and Sandoval, or like it was just Sandoval and he came. I didn't even watch that because my friend was like, it's awful, don't even. And I was like, okay. But I feel like Schwartz would thrive on this show. And I kind of like low-key wanted Schwartz to like hook up with someone. That would have been great if he hooked up with Lexi, because Lexi did not share the room with Jesse for the night. She was actually even asking Schwartz, like, how do you like shut somebody out of your room for the night, or like don't go to bed with them? It's like, you just lock yourself in your room and tell them, I don't like you. Go suck on somebody else's toe, not mine. But I thought it would have been great if her and Schwartz hooked up. Schwartz was looking cute at the party. I mean, he's an attractive guy, 1,000 times more attractive than Jesse. So I was like, she could have got it. But Schwartz is so much older than her, which is fine. We love the age. We love a little age gap. But I think Schwartz is looking for something really serious, because him and Kyle were talking about like the fertility, and they couldn't believe. They said, do you think you were going to be this age? Because they're both like 41, 42. He's like, did you think you were going to be this age and not have kids by now? And they're both like, no, obviously. I think Schwartz would be a great dad. Kyle's still a little wild to me, so like, I don't know. And also can't blame him for still being wild. He doesn't have kids, so do your thing, Kyle. But down in the kitchen, we're having group therapy, and Lexi said she can't stand Jesse making her look crazy. And I'm like, you know what? Get it. You know who looks crazy right now? Jesse. He looks like Mr. Magoo with his glasses, hat on. I said he wasn't attractive. He certainly isn't looking attractive now. Lexi's in like some light makeup, this black lace tank top on. She's looking way better than him. And she's like, do you know why I haven't wanted to be your girlfriend? Because of the red flags. She's like, so don't say you're the one not wanting to be serious. It's me. And someone said, but you're exclusive. And she said, well, I don't want to be. And you can shove that out the window. And I'm like, ooh. Jesse and Lexi then later go back in the city, talk about all this stuff. And she said she's more like the love you and leave you. So he's coming, flowers in hand, hat in hand. And he's just saying, I'm sorry, and apologizing. And she's kind of like over it, you can tell. And she's like, you know, we just have to, I guess, figure out, is it worth it? Because I truly feel like they have fought more than they have got along. And if they are fighting this much, they have known each other for 5 weeks. Even if they fought this much after 5 months, I'd be like, no, it's been 5 weeks. And like I said before, I think she really did herself a disservice, because instead of getting to know everybody and then maybe start hooking up with a single guy in the house, or still being friends with everyone and hooking up with Jesse, I feel like she really didn't make friends with anybody and just immediately was like clinging to Jesse. And now she like really doesn't hang out with the girls. So I am curious what will happen next episode, because I feel like they full on weren't like, okay, yeah, we're done. This is a no. Like, don't touch me. Don't look at me anymore. So I think she's done, but who knows? Could change the next weekend. But we know current day, they are not together at all. Sierra was actually on Watch What Happens Live, and Andy was like, are there any rumors you want to clear up about like you and Jesse being photographed at Coachella? And she's like, yeah, 2 things. She's like, we're just there. We're just like hanging out. She's like, and a certain someone, meaning Lexi, saying that both of us skipped her birthday party to hang out with each other. We weren't even together. So no hope this summer if Lexi's back on Summerhouse for her with the girls, because don't do that with Sierra. Like, Sierra doesn't want Jesse. Be snippy and mad at Jesse, but don't be like, oh, they both didn't come to my birthday party, so they must be like having sex with each other. It's like, maybe she didn't want to come to your birthday party because like no one got to know you this summer, because all you did was you and Jesse suffocated each other. Because she is equal to blame as well. She could have been like not responding to the psychoness that she is basically phrasing, that he's FaceTiming her all the time. I would have been like, you know what? I just got here. Let's just breathe. I want to get to know everybody. I don't want to just put all my eggs in the basket with you. And now look, all the eggs are broken and done with. But Amanda and Kyle go to lunch and discuss their future of having kids. So Kyle said he wants to get his sperm checked, kind of telling Amanda like that's what Tom did. And she's like, well, why? And he's like, well, like, what if I'm sterile? Because it is true. Like, you don't even know until you actually start to have kids if there is a problem. So since they have already waited a little longer than he thought they were, and he's getting older, he just wants to check, make sure everything's fine. Because you could freeze your sperm. And that's what Craig wanted to do, because he was definitely figuring out him and Paige were not having kids anytime soon. So he was taking precaution, which is mature. And he's like, well, what if I'm sterile? And she said, well, that wouldn't be the worst thing. And then he's like, what? And she's like, yeah, you know, I always thought I wanted kids, but like now, lately, sometimes I'm like, maybe I'm not meant to take care of someone. Well, they have 2 dogs. So, and that's a lot of responsibility. So you could say you are taking care of someone, let alone 2. But this is my thing. I get if Amanda isn't ready right now. That's totally fine, because she said she just got her mental health kind of under control. She's in a way better place now. She's launching her swimsuit line, which is a very big deal for her, and that's all on her own. So love that for her as well. And maybe she's just, you know, not ready to fully commit to having a child, which is totally fine. And the fact that Kyle is like, well, no, I'm ready right now. Like, what do you mean? You just started DJing. Like, he's going to be in Philly tonight. I can't go because we have a lot of things to do over this weekend. But I'm like, it doesn't seem like you're ready to have a kid. And what happened to, oh, I don't even want to move out of the city, like all last summer they were arguing about she wanted a house. He's like, no. So it's like now all of a sudden this summer you're totally ready to have like a bunch of kids and be really serious and settle down. So I feel bad in a sense for Amanda that now he's like, well, I'm ready. Why aren't you? It's like, well, relax. Like, we could wait maybe a year or two. The one thing that I could say that I'm on Kyle's side about is you meet people. These are discussions you have before you get married. Do you want kids? Both people either say yes or both people either say no. They both wanted children one day in the future. So they both said yes to that. Now they're married. And if all of a sudden Amanda flips the script and says, well, maybe I don't want kids, that's not fair to Kyle, because they both went into a marriage saying they both wanted kids. Kind of not fair to him. And let's say it was the other way around. That wouldn't be fair to her. It's like Paige. It's not like she was telling Craig, I never want kids. She just doesn't want them right now. Her career is at an all-time high, and nothing against kids. But yes, that would totally slow her down because she's the one carrying the kid. I mean, and then she would probably want to obviously be a hands-on mom, especially at the beginning phases. So she doesn't want to pop the kid out and then leave it with you, Craig, and never have any time with the kid. So it's like, I feel bad for Kyle and Amanda in both senses, because that's not fair if she has now changed her mind. And he, like, let's say like, he's like, no, I 100% want kids. And she's like, well, now I've changed my mind. I don't. Well, they'll have to get divorced. They just will. And it's not saying I want them to get divorced, but if that's something you want, it's not okay to just like repress it and never have it. And I think they would be great parents. And when Kyle and Schwartz were talking, if anything, I definitely think Schwartz would be an amazing dad, even more than Kyle, just because I could see him being kind of like the stay-at-home dad, kind of. Like, I don't know. I just see Schwartz being like really lovey because he's very caring, and he was like the more tender one, I feel like, in the relationship between him and Katie. So this is hard. They're all growing up on the show. Kyle is older, and he's definitely probably like, you know, last summer you wanted to buy a house and have kids, and now all of a sudden you're telling me maybe you don't even want kids and you're not meant to take care of something. So I'm interested to see how that progresses, but I wonder how many episodes we have left, because I'm like, if Jesse and Lexi are really done, I'm like, that's going to be a little awkward now that you have a couple weeks left with each other. So this is like mid-August, so they definitely have a little more. They'll have till Labor Day, and then we know the last episode will be cameras picking back up, and Paige divulges all the Craigie breakup with Amanda and Lindsay, and I can't wait for her to talk about that. I saw you texting two bitches in our relationship, like, I really think now, hearing both sides, everything, I think Craig was, and eyewitnessing, Craig was so annoying at the beginning of their relationship that she did stick it out, and then he did change and he became better. But I think it was just like, all right, well, like, now I'm tired and I'm focusing on myself because I focused on you so much at the beginning and worried about you. And yeah, her career wasn't at the height back then that it is now. So Craigie has to take a back seat, and if so be it. But it's going to be fun watching that reunion. They just taped it. They said all in all it was pretty good. And then Andy actually went out with the guys after, so that's pretty funny. And then they taped the Valley reunion. Oh, that's going to be a doozy. And I'm sure they all needed a freaking vacation after taping that, because they didn't do a reunion last year, and that was a disservice to all of us because that was juicy. But this reunion, whoo, I mean, everyone's marriage is crumbling. People are pregnant. People don't like each other. It's just, that's definitely going to be wild. And then we had LVP on Watch What Happens Live the other night. So she was saying that Kyle was looking at that house across the street from her, and she's like, oh, come on. Like, why would you even do that? And Channing Tatum used to live there. Ew. And then she was like, I used to want to build an underground tunnel so I could go to his house. And I'm like, after all that P. Diddy stuff, don't even be saying that, LVP. Don't even be getting into that. And then somebody called in and asked the question, like, how do you feel about Sheena releasing her book soon and saying that she spilled a lot of tea in it about you? And then Lisa was like, oh, well, I guess she has nothing else to talk about. Actually, I taped it. We got to just hear it from her lips saying that, because I was like, whoo, LVP needs to be back on Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, honestly, because she was getting like cutthroat gossipy, and I kind of liked it.
She's spilling a lot of tea about you.
About me?
Yes.
Oh, good Lord. Well, that's probably just to sell the book because she hasn't got anything else to say. Do you know?
LVP calling Sheena out. And I think her and Sheena are a little tit for tat right now, because a while ago when Lisa Vanderpump went on Alex Baskin's Hot Mic podcast, he asked who she still talks to from Vanderpump. She said Tom Schwartz, Lala. And that was so like the fact that she used to be very close to Sheena. Sheena used to be Pandora's friend. She was in Pandora's wedding. Pandora was in Sheena's wedding. So it's wild, fast forward to today, that it's like, you guys still all live there and we're so close, and now you just don't speak. I think that's a little odd. And the fact that Sheena kind of wants to like throw some shade. I want to get the book just to read the parts about LVP. Like, what tea are you spilling? Is it stuff we already kind of know? Or like, I don't know. I find that a little distasteful as well, unless LVP did some really bad things to Sheena that need to come out, because she did a lot for Sheena. So I think it would be very poor taste if she's just going to throw her under the bus like that. But I thought LVP was great on Watch What Happens Live. I would like to see her back on Beverly Hills. So apparently the rumor is like no one's going to come back. I don't know. We need a shakeup and a change up. I think watching Single Dorit would be fun though, with Kyle. I wish Kyle drank. Not that she can't be fun, but I think it would be interesting and worth it to keep the two of them for another season to be single together, to see. Like, let's get them on like some speed dating. Garcelle is checked out. I really don't want Sutton there, especially if Garcelle's not there. Who the hell is she going to talk to? Jennifer Tilly is just a friend of, so that's not saving Sutton that much. Denise Richards said she would come back. That would be really fascinating because she is friends with Kathy Hilton. She's friends with Erica Jane because they made a little appearance on her show. I do like Denise Richards. I just didn't think she was meshing well on The Housewives. She flourished a little better on her show, even though nothing dramatic happened on her show. She's good TV. I mean, and she has a history and a background and a life. So, I want Bose to come back 100% on Beverly Hills. Maybe we'll get one of her friends or something. I don't know. We just need help on Beverly Hills, and we need real friends again. We just do. Like, it's so unentertaining to watch everyone fight and then not even care if they become friends again, because it's like, well, then why are you guys all hanging out? This isn't really reality. It's like, oh yeah, you're just getting a paycheck and you're just hanging out for the show for a paycheck, which at the end of the day, they all are having to hang out. But I like watching the shows where they hang out off camera too and they're actually friends. That is reality to me. But I think that's pretty much it for now. Yeah, that was, I'm liking the TV shows thus far. I kind of am liking this lineup we got too. We got Tuesday, Wednesday. I like it. It's because Southern Charm was on Thursdays and I'm like, that's too late in the week. I like it earlier in the week. And I like that it's 2 nights in a row. I'm wondering what we're getting next. I think Miami's coming back soon. I don't watch Miami, but I know that's coming back on soon. I wonder if we're going to get any news about Jersey. I watched the Hollywood Demons thing. I'll talk about that for a minute before we go. They revealed on there that Teresa lied, said that she was a real estate agent making X amount a month so she could get loans. But then I just listened to a piece of her podcast because she was commenting on all that. She's like, that was a lie. I never said that. I never did that. They showed like documents on this documentary. And then also, in my opinion, so Teresa said she did not get paid for Hollywood Demons because she didn't talk either. They just were talking about her. So you don't get paid if you're not on it. And then they can make it without your permission and stuff. So let's say like none of that was true. You would sue them for defamation for sure. If they're just literally pulling that out of their ass and none of that ever happened. It happened. So just at this point, Teresa, let it go. Let it go. You already listened to the Frozen song. Let it go. You already did your jail time. We already know you and Joe were doing shady stuff. I always just thought it was Joe doing more of the shady stuff, but if that's true, she's claiming it's not, but I really think it is because if you guys haven't watched that documentary, watch it. They have papers saying she made like fake income, which would make sense for her to get approved for those loans for those houses for Joe to flip because you have to have an income in order to get a loan. So she can't say, oh, I'm a stay-at-home mom with kids and I put bows in their hair. That's my income. Because that was before she was on Housewives. So it's like, no. Taylor Armstrong was on it a lot, talking about Russell. And I know that we found out some of the info like on the show because she said when Camille said, we never said before that he hit you, but now we did. Taylor said her heart dropped into her butt because nobody had ever talked about it on camera and it was like a secret she was keeping. But I didn't realize the intense and how long the abuse was for her. Awful. I feel so awful for her. I'm glad that that part of her life is over now, but I feel so awful for her because it was even worse than I thought. And that whole thing is just really sad. The whole episode was largely about that. Teresa's was kind of like a blip. Oh, they said Nene like had went to jail before, but this was like years before Housewives. They were just kind of saying like, what is okay and not okay for these housewives to have had a past of like criminal history. Or they were talking about Jen Shah a lot. And that was so sad seeing. So some of the old people that she ripped off were on there talking, and that's just sick. Like the one thing I can say was Teresa and Joe's were like victimless crimes. They just like weren't paying their taxes. Like they weren't stealing old people's savings accounts like a Tom Girardi or Jen Shah. So that's a little different. I mean, you still, if you do the crime, you got to do the time. But I get more disgusted when you see stories like Jen Shah and Tom Girardi because that's awful when you see those people like, oh, I had $1 million of savings and now I'm poor. It said someone was homeless because of her. Sick. And then they all turn on the TV and see her. Watch out for those scams, everybody, because I get these weird texts and I know it's a scam because the number is like +63 789 52130. Like, it's like, okay, no. And it's like, please pay your easy toll. Fines may occur. And I'm like, what? Easy toll? We have Easy Pass. There's no easy toll. And I'm like, no, bye. Haven't even been over a toll in a long time. No, junk. But these old people get scared and they're like, oh, well, I did go through a toll last week. Did my Easy Pass not work? Let me click this thing and then pay and give them my credit card number. It's like, no, it's very sad. And then the other scam is those text messages are like, we tried to deliver your package, but you weren't home. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. Because if you were trying to deliver an Amazon package, Amazon would notify me. Sometimes they say UPS, but it's like, no. But those are all weird emails. So thank God it's not like saying it's UPS. It's a weird email. So don't respond to any weird emails. Don't respond to any weird phone numbers. Because guess what? If you're in trouble, you'll find out. Like my husband got like a prank call and it said that he didn't show up for jury duty and his like summons for his arrest was out. It's like, and then it was like at the end, it was like, have a blessed day, because it said it was a police officer. And he's like, police officers are not saying have a blessed day. And I'm like, no, that's junk. That's literally junk. Because guess what? If you were really supposed to have jury duty, you would get it in the mail and you would say, I never got it in the mail. It's just, no one's coming to arrest you. It's just, the scams are real. Like I said at the beginning, my freaking TikTok got hacked. Very pissed. They don't care. I'm talking to a robot that's in China. So God help us all. I guess I'll create a new TikTok. But once I do, I'll notify everyone so we can all report the other one and get it shut down. As always, you can find me at Bravo T with a stay-at-home mom on Instagram. Don't go on my TikTok currently because it is not me. So just stick on my Instagram. And I'm on YouTube, guys. So go on there too.
Yeah, you walk that walk, watch the muscle pop. You're so picture perfect.